Hey guys, what's up? This is a duo commentary with my friend Scone Thief.
Yeah.
I know you have never heard him before, like with me on the commentary. We were about to do one last time, but the problem was, I somehow couldn't do it, and I don't know what it was, but it was pretty irritating. But anyway, my friend Scone Thief's playing Nunu here. Whenever I'm dead, I'll ask him stuff about his role, and well, I die 3 times in this game, so you'll get to hear from him more than that, but still.
You die a lot more than that. Just
no, I
only
don't.
your soul died.
No, shut up. I didn't die. Stop. So he's playing Nunu, and he's got the most ugly fucking Nunu skin in existence. So that's great.
Just demolish your ugly Nunu.
He looks like an oval, as Eli likes to say. So he's
An
got
oval with the joystick on his head.
So he's paired with a Kog'Maw, and he's fighting a Taric and Ezreal. A few times they do die, because I kind of anticipated that. It is Ezreal Taric after all. But I'm fighting a Shen with Kha'zix, and if you guys have watched IPL 5, you'll understand that when I saw Shen, well, you'll understand why, that when I saw Shen I was really, really happy. I was like, yes, I'm so glad this is going to be a somewhat easy lane. Granted, the Shen wasn't that bad, so it didn't end up being as easy as I thought, so it was that's always nice. I don't like to fight people that are weaker than me. So we got a Cat and a Riven, so that means we have absolutely no team comp whatsoever.
Our team is damage.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we are. We're just damage. And then they're like Peel, but I guess sometimes Shen didn't do well with Peel, but he did overall okay. He kept saving Rise, kept fucking over our Cat, so that was pretty cool of him, I guess, for his team.
Yep.
So I've got Mecha Kha'zix all machiney and stuff. And early game, there's not a whole lot I can do against Shen, as I realized, because he just got cloth armor first, and we're like a wise person. So yeah, like I said, there's not a whole lot I can do, especially since Riven didn't really come up to gank top, but I didn't really care, because as I've said in my previous video, I've always seen jungler ganks as kind of a privilege, or not really a need like a lot of other people seem to. But looks like bottom lane is kind of even out so far. Scone is just kind of randomly giving him blood boils.
Randomly?
Yeah,
I
well,
always give blood boil.
yeah, whenever it's off cooldown. It's pretty much what you gotta do with Nunu. Sometimes you can be aggressive, but sometimes you can't. And in this lane, this is an example of you not necessarily being able to be aggressive. And the Kog'Maw's wise because he's like in the bush. You want to comment on what you kind of try to do with Nunu, Yola?
Well, in this lane, I want to keep Taric as far away from Kog'Maw as I can get him, or Ezreal. If I can't keep Taric away, then I want to like ice ball Ezreal so he can't follow up.
Yeah.
And right here at the start, I trade my life for Ezreal's, which is a very good trade because I'm a support and he's a carry, which means my carry gets to farm for free until Ezreal comes back.
Mm-hmm. They do end up getting first blood, but I would imagine that that's a pretty good trade because not only does Kog'Maw get the farm, he gets to push the wave to the turret, which means that Ezreal loses out on a lot of farm.
And experience.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, oh yeah, and a cannon minion's there too, so that's even better because that means he gets a huge chunk of experience missing there. Right here at top, we kind of get into an engagement. I didn't know I had as much health as I really did, but if I did go in, I probably would have died because of the Shen taunt. Unfortunately, Riven has to use her dash to get away. I'm sorry I missed the action there. Probably shouldn't have. But here's me just kind of failing at last hitting under the turret. So, and as I said, like, not much happens in this lane. It's just us kind of, it's just me kind of healing every time Shen uses his Q early game because he's going to win those early trades because I don't quite have my items yet. But once I get my items, I'm going to start being able to fight Shen more. And that's kind of what happens with Kha'zix. And I realize I can't really win the trade right now, so I wait until my minions kind of hit him a lot and everything, so until something happens there. And bottom, looks like there's a bit of a taunt stun there. Ezreal's trying to follow up, but the problem is Ezreal kind of relies on poking as far as I'm aware, right? Like right now,
Yeah.
especially.
At this point, he kind of relies on poking, and every time he tries to get in a prolonged engagement, I ice ball him.
Yeah.
So he doesn't do any damage. But the Kog'Maw is being stupid and not backing, even though he has no potions and is at like half health. So he ends up dying later because he refuses to back when he really should, so he can match damage with Ezreal.
Yeah, because Ezreal's got an item advantage over him, so that's going to mean that he's going to just do superior damage, and Kog'Maw doesn't quite understand that for some reason. Mid, we've got a little bit of action here. Unfortunately, Ryze turns on Cat, and she ends up dying, so good play on Ryze's part. Katarina got a little greedy there. She should have just kind of... Whenever I'm that low on health and I have a lane partner or a jungler coming, I just kind of stay back until the opportunity presents itself. I don't try to get greedy for the kill, because otherwise that kind of thing can happen, and you end up trading your life for nothing. Other than just a flash. I mean, that's not really that worth it, especially since now Ryze has a gold advantage over her. Here's Taric just kind of pushing Kog'Maw away because Kog'Maw still won't back. The problem is that now Taric's about to stun him, I'm sure. Or, wow, I don't know how
He's
that
trying
Ezreal,
to.
I don't know how that Ezreal missed that Q. He doesn't, I guess this Kog'Maw doesn't really trust Scone to keep the lane frozen. But he probably should have. Like, Ezreal still has a lane advantage, still has an item advantage over him, so Kog'Maw wasn't really the wisest in this decision. However, luckily for him, he kind of backs off a little bit more. Riven's coming in, and the thing is, if Kog'Maw had backed earlier, they could have easily turned on these guys, and then Riven could have ganked for them. So, but I think both of them realize that they can't really do that. Here, Nocturne was actually really good this game. Don't you think? Like, he had a few...
Yeah, he did some pretty good ganks. Here's where I die.
Yeah,
because I engaged too early and Riven's low, and Kog'Maw was too low.
It's a common mistake with a lot of supports. Here, I just get a little greedy for the Shen. I know that I can't get away standardly, so before I go down, I try to just stealth and kill him, and I go ahead and fire down the middle here and use my W. I knew I was gonna die. I would have died even if he hadn't flashed. So I do end up getting a flash anyway. So it's no big deal, honestly. I don't really. I mean, I was upset when it happened, but looking back on it now, he burnt a flash just so he could like save his partner, and he failed at that. He still got the kill, but again, he could have gotten the kill even if he hadn't flashed. So it ended up being an alright trade. Especially since he still had vision on me. He could have ulted me instead of flashing. It has a much shorter cooldown. But anyway, Cat's getting kind of slaughtered by Wraiths, and barely gets out.
Too clever.
And
she's also getting slaughtered by Ryze.
Yeah, which isn't completely unheard of. She is a melee opponent, and her laning phase sucks, while Ryze's isn't really that bad. His early laning is a little weak, but not as weak as Katarina's early laning phase is. Especially due to the fact that she's, like I said, she's a melee mid, and Ryze just laughs at melee mids and completely annihilates them. But Cat isn't really picking her CSing, her CSing time is right, so it's not really working out for the best. Now that I'm level 7, well, level 6, and I realize I can't really fight Shen full on, so I just go ahead and back off. And I end up getting CS and free poke on him. It becomes about even. I mean, the trade, it's not quite as even as I thought it was going to be. And right here, Ezreal thinks he can fight Ezreal, and the thing is, since Scone Thief knows where Taric is, it's not going to happen. The stun is not going to happen.
Yes, Ezreal is very good at fighting Ezreal.
Yeah, I mean, Kog'Maw. That's what I meant to say. I apologize. The thing is, Taric, another common mistake Tarics make is that they go way too far deep, and then they think that they can come out even in the exchange. But it doesn't end up happening here, and he ends up missing the ulti on Kog'Maw completely. But it doesn't matter, because Nocturne is somehow there.
Nocturne wanted to gank, but he showed up right when Kog'Maw was going to be.
Mm-hmm. And he had vision on him, so because the minions were pushed to the tower.
Yeah.
And right here, Cat's still getting slaughtered by this Rise. Doesn't really matter whether she has mana or not. I wanted to go in on this Rise, and that was why I went mid, because like I said, I've been trying to roam now that I'm level 6. And without the taunt, Shen doesn't really have the damage. He's starting to show that he doesn't quite have the damage to kill me, per se. Especially since I have a lot of sustained, and that's one of the reasons why Shen does so poorly against Kha'zix, is because Shen doesn't really have the damage later on to deal with him, unless he builds like Wit's End and stuff like that, which Wit's End isn't really, other than damage, isn't really going to help you against Kha'zix, so there's no real point to building it. Shen, however, does do well against characters like Rumble, because Rumble doesn't have the damage to kill him, and Shen can just get in his face and then heal off of him. And if they had turned on this, I think they knew that. They knew that Riven was there, so that was why Ezreal and Taric didn't go back in. But it was a good job on both their parts to push them out. However, everybody is at bottom lane, and that seems to be the kind of a theme that's just going said.
Yes. This is a very bottom lane centric game. The mid on their team won without assistance, and you won without assistance. So everything's focused on bottom.
Yeah. And here what I'm doing, actually, with Kha'zix is, if you notice, I keep ducking in and out of the brush between W cooldowns, because I want to refresh that passive every time I can. And every time I do, I have a damage advantage over Shen. So that's kind of what I'm trying to, that's kind of the object of what I'm doing. It's just poking down, going back in, getting my passive again, and then poking down again. But unfortunately, Shen has the sustain to get out of that sort of danger, so I don't end up killing him for quite a while. And what's it called? I mean, the thing of the object now, since I know I don't really have necessarily the damage to kill him, the object is for me now is just to kind of push the lane. Just push the lane and deny him farm at his turret. I mean, if he's good at farming under his turret, then not much of a bad thing is going to happen. So I'd end up jumping there. However, I do see Nocturne coming, so I have to back off there. Not much is happening at bottom, which is why not much is being commentated either. Right here, Nocturne's just babysitting this Shen, and it's very, very evident. Nocturne tells him to back off because he doesn't want to have to deal with me killing him. However, Nocturne is enough of a wall to the point where I won't really have the courage to try to fight him. So, most of the time, this top lane consists of Nocturne pushing back since Shen can't. And that's very wise of him. He goes top whenever I push it out so that my strategy doesn't work. And that's why I said I'm glad that these guys weren't slouches in terms of how you fight people. They both knew Nocturne was coming at mid, so that was good of them to back off. However, again, not much is happening mid. Kog'Maw's kind of not doing that much damage, and I don't exactly know why. I think it's... Does Ezreal have...
Ezreal has lifesteal, I believe.
Yeah. Let me see how much...
yeah, Ezreal has lifesteal, so it kind of negates Kog'Maw's small amounts of poke.
I think it's also because Taric is there, right?
Yeah, Taric also has a heal and gives him armor to protect him from the damage.
Honestly, I think that Ezreal is one of the few AD carries that actually isn't really hurt that much by Ezreal. I mean, by Ezreal isn't. Yeah, Ezreal isn't. Like I said, Ezreal doesn't get hindered that much by Nunu in hindsight. I don't think because of the ability damage, right?
Well, the thing is, it baits him into bad engages because though a lot of his damage is in abilities, he relies most of the time either on his ultimate or auto attacks to finish the job.
Oh, gotcha.
And if his attack speed's slowed, then his auto attacks suddenly don't work.
Yeah, that's true.
He's at risk of either dying or just wasting his time and energy.
However, I would think that he wasn't as hurt by it as Graves or Tristana, right?
Yeah, Tristana. Well, Tristana's almost all. If it's either you either die from just abilities or die just from auto attacks with Tristana.
Oh yeah.
But Graves doesn't have the constant damage in his abilities, so he can't keep up with someone else if he's slowed by the Nunu's Ice Wall.
Yeah, I got you. So, Nocturne's trying to set something up here. He's actually pretty smart in doing so. They try to dive on this cat, but they didn't pay attention to the, where the minions were. So nothing ends up going for them there. I knew that I could go really aggressive on this Shen because of that, but right here, I wanted to get. And I ended up getting that Shen because he got into a bad engagement with me. The problem was that he walked into my spikes, so not much really came out of that other than his death. That's one thing you don't want to do against a Kha'zix, is walk right into his Void Spikes, because that's a majority of his damage, especially if you go with the same build that I do. So anyway, I'm just using my spikes to push still. Not much is going on at mid or top, really, other than, like I said, split pushing is the name of my game right now, since I can't, other than if Shen makes a huge mistake, I can't fully kill Shen because he's starting to build a lot of armor, because he's smart in how he builds. And Nocturne is coming top because he doesn't want me to keep split pushing, and that's really wise of him. By the way, I think this Nocturne skin looks a lot like the Saren evolution. Eli doesn't know what I'm talking about, but because he hasn't played Mass Effect like a scrub, hasn't played Mass Effect. I don't know why he doesn't play Mass Effect. It kind of hurts.
Don't like it.
But you didn't even try it, son.
I did try it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I don't like hiding behind everything.
You don't like cover combat?
No. I didn't like Gears of War for the same reason.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't like dying in 2 shots if I go out of cover.
So Shen ults there. I don't know why Cat got greedy for TS there. It ended up killing her. It wasn't the Shen ult, actually, that was the problem there. So I end up jumping in there. Unfortunately, I'm a little too late to kill, and I'm like, nope, Nocturne's there. I'm getting out of here. So I ended up doing that. I did get an assist, at least, before Riven died, so that was good. Nocturne does the shield a little late, so I ended up getting free poke damage on him. Late game, in a full-on engage, I could kill Nocturne. There was really no question there, but right now, as it was, I can't really fight him unless he didn't have mana like he didn't there, so. Right here.
Yeah, he's still got the superior damage at this point.
Yeah, especially early game. This is where that's why I didn't want to get into that kind of engagement with it. Anyway, the little scrap happens at bottom. Ezreal was low a lot of times, but Kog'Maw didn't use the fact that he was low on. Oh shit! I just didn't use the fact that he had minions there to his advantage, so he ended up getting nothing for that. Except well, he ended up getting an Ezreal kill, but he ended up dying as a result too, so that was kind of a problem.
Another problem was that he managed to sandwich himself between Ezreal and Taric.
Exactly. And
the gay duo smashed his face in.
Oh boy, the gay duo.
And then Taric tried to flash to kill me, but I was Nunu.
Exactly.
So I just waddled away.
So,
and that ends up getting him killed because he doesn't have flash to escape.
Exactly. So. And Kog'Maw gets that kill. Kog'Maw is actually, I mean, he's a little behind Ezreal, but he's not behind everyone, which is the only thing Kog'Maw needs is to not be behind everybody, and then he can just be a damage machine.
Well, he's behind Ezreal, but Ezreal doesn't have Nunu.
Exactly.
So Kog'Maw probably has another free 1,500 gold worth of, or 2,000 gold worth of
Here comes
damage.
Nocturne. I don't know why Kog'Maw didn't see him, but it doesn't end up hurting them that much. Why did you? Any reason why you flashed there, Scone?
Because Nocturne's ult was up.
Oh, gotcha.
And I didn't want him diving.
Yeah.
Actually, I probably shouldn't have baited him into it. But,
yeah, because, that's what I was saying. Like, well, that's what I was thinking. I thought Riven was going to come down if Nocturne was coming.
No, Riven's slow.
Yeah. But another thing is that in that sort of situation, I might not have flashed until I was below half health. Well, a little bit below half health. Because I don't think, I mean, maybe it's because Ezreal would do damage too, but...
Well, yeah, Ezreal would do damage. He's got 5 kills. Almost a full Trinity Force.
So, Ezreal's, I mean, not Ezreal, Shen is kind of bullying me in the meantime at top because he doesn't really have any mana concerns. And I'm focused more on poking with my W instead of healing with it, which is kind of my mistake. So, I ended up, I mean, I have a Brutalizer and a Vamp Scepter at this point. I intend to get a Bloodthirster next. The thing about, a lot of people with Kha'zix build Black Cleaver first, and I'm not really too fond of that. I mean, I see your point. You want to get the utility for your team, but honestly, you're going to get it after your Bloodthirster anyway, and I think that the extra poke damage is will help your team a lot more than just a bit of an armor shred from one stack of your Ws. So that was the reason why I didn't do that. So Taric kind of goes in 2 balls deep, and bad things end up happening. To everybody on their team. Kog'Maw is wise in where he Kog'Maw's wise in where he positions himself, so he's not sandwiching himself between Taric again. So that was smart of him. Unfortunately, now they're all really low, so Shen is trying to make something happen out of this. And also Kog'Maw is low
Riven
mana,
baits me in.
And yeah, baits you in, so you end up getting...
Because she just suicides in there.
Yeah, I think she thought she had the damage to fight Shen, but she didn't end up having that. So, because a lot of misconceptions about Shen is how much real effective health he has, especially with what he builds. He had like 200 health there, but then he ended up healing to like 400.
And he had his shield to block another probably 150.
Exactly. So that was just a big misplay by Riven. I mean, maybe I think I might have made that same kind of bad play, but not with that low health. I would have just been focused on running, especially since Shen and Ezreal have limited chasing potential, so it wouldn't have been that much of an issue for me. However,
yeah.
This is just me split pushing. This is really all I can, I mean, not all I can do, but all I can do against a smart Shen is push to his turret so he can't do anything about it. And poke him in the meantime. But as you can see, my poke isn't really doing any damage to him, so I try to kind of go in on him a bit more. I do have minion advantage, and he didn't really think about that in terms of top lane. Right there, I don't remember what turret goes down. I don't think a turret went down. It said one did.
Mid, I believe,
mid
went down.
Oh yeah, mid went down. So, Rise has effectively won his lane.
Well, he had 2 kills on Cat anyway.
Yeah, that's why I said he effectively won it, but honestly, like I said, I mean, I guess you guys want to know what I think about Kha'zix now. One of the things is that, like, first off, Kha'zix, I just never shut up about the guy. You can ask Scone Thief about that. I never shut up about how I think he's great. Also, there's 4 people bottom. I don't know why there is, but there is.
Kha'zix is better than sliced bread.
Yes, Kha'zix is better than lots of sliced bread. That is kind of an understatement of what I overall think about the character, but it is a statement nonetheless.
It is.
However, what I think about Kha'zix is that he has his own place. I like comparing him to Cat to a degree. Not so much in in how he has AoE and everything. I mean, Cat definitely has the advantage over Kha'zix in AoE because he only has one dedicated AoE ability. And now that I have a Bloodthirster, well, I'm on my way to my Bloodthirster. Now that I have my BF sword, he realizes that now I'm starting to do a lot of damage. So that's one of the things you can take into account is if I had a Black Cleaver, I would have done damage a lot later. I mean, in terms of how much I fought, or how much I fought it or whatever. So right here they're pinging blue. I'm like, I'm one step ahead of you. I'm getting it because neither Cat nor Riven need it. So that means free blue buff for me, which is really a very advantageous situation that I'm in. Right here, unfortunately, Shen ports in on Tarek, which keeps them from killing him, but then they ended up going after him, so it didn't end up matter. And Riven gets the kill on Tarek. Now Shen is in a really bad place because Scone can basically perma-slow him. Shen tried to dash through the wall, but he ended up failing at that, and he also burned his flash. So really, there's nowhere you can go for to get away from this.
Also, Riven had Blood Boil, so even if I didn't have the snowball the whole time, Riven was a lot faster.
Precisely.
And then Rise comes bottom.
Rise comes bottom, and what I think happened here is he didn't really focus on who he wanted to focus. So
he didn't have any focus, and then Cat comes in and just kills him.
Yeah, exactly. One thing is that her ulti can't be stopped by a bind, which is kind of an advantage she has later game. Cat should just be focused on like damage for the most part at this point. I mean, she has magic resist for her abyssal, but she should just focus on damage so that she can kind of I don't know how to explain this. It's so she can focus on killing the squishies, because she's not really gonna dent Rise at this point, especially if he's building how I think he is. He's gonna go. I think he's gonna go Banshees next, which will really cut his damage a lot. So, and right here, I want to see how much I can fight Shen. Shen thinks he has the advantage at first, and but then he starts getting isolated, and he starts going in on the chase. And I start doing more damage than he thinks that I will. However, Nocturne is coming, and I should have seen that coming, because then I jump in like an idiot, and I ended up getting myself killed. Well, not initially, but Nocturne keeps chasing annoyingly, and I should have ducked into the bush so that I could have juked out his flash, but I didn't end up doing that. And he ends up killing me. He would have killed me either way. I figure I might as well get as much damage on him as I can before that happens. So now he's at low health. Neither he nor Nocturne are safe to push at top lane. So it wasn't really a victory, but it was more of a victory than if I had just keeled over and died. And at mid, Scone is just helping get kills like at this point, and it's really helping because he tanked the turret. If Cat had been the one to tank the turret, they would have gone 1-for-1, but instead, Scone is helping out here.
Yeah. I noticed actually it's kind of surprising in this game, no one's dragoned yet.
Yeah, that is a little odd. I didn't.
Almost 30 minutes in and no one's dragoned, and me and Tarek have both had it boarded.
Mm-hmm. I think it's more the fact that neither Riven nor Nocturne have been focused on
well,
Dragon
Nocturne's been top too much for Dragon to be a viable option.
Mm-hmm.
While Riven's more been focused on ganks and helping bottom lane, helping Kog'Maw just push.
Still, it is odd that after you got that kill on Shen, you guys didn't go for Dragon.
Well, Riven had already beat.
Oh yeah, because she
was at less than 100 health because Rise is damaged.
Exactly.
Also, Shen built a Stinger.
I don't know. Wait, he did? Oh
yeah.
God, I didn't notice that. Oh, I think he was going for the Zephyr, so that the slow wouldn't last as long, because he didn't have Merc Tread, so he didn't have any tenacity as a result. That might have been what kind of started to kill him, because we had a pretty hefty amount of CC. Riven, despite what people think, she actually has more CC than people let on. I don't know why.
She has a knockback and a stun that are very repeatable.
And I don't know how Rise juked out Rise juked out Scone there, but he did, like, by just walking around.
Oh no, that was Shen ulti.
No, I mean earlier on when he was going into the river bush, the entrance to the river. You just like walked right past him.
I didn't want to fight him.
And I saw Nocturne coming. I wanted to come down quicker. Unfortunately, Nocturne ends up killing Cat, and they end up blowing up. I wanted to go ahead and kill this Shen though, since I saw that he was coming. But instead, since Shen is too far away and so is Nocturne, I found Tarek to be kind of a consolation prize, because he decides to stick his neck out too hard. They end up chasing after Nocturne and Shen, and I end up just going for Tarek. See, I go ahead and use my ulti to get in range, and I do that so that he can't stun me right away, because because the what's it called? Fog of War would keep his the vision from happening. And right here, I end up getting the jump on him. Shen dashes through the wall. I don't see Ezreal, so I end up dying. Because what I should have done is I should have just turned around. But what would have happened anyway is that Shen would have just taunted me. But unfortunately, I didn't think that the turret was up, so that's why I thought I could escape through that. But unfortunately, no.
Not the case.
Not the case. But at this point, I think Scone is just kind of roaming around, seeing if he can just assist with kills. That's pretty much what I do with Nunu, especially when the laning phase is over and Kog'Maw no longer really needs me. But Scone
finish off my Zeeks because I figured rushing Zeeks is more important because it gives Riven, Kog'Maw, and you all quite a bit of lifesteal and attack speed, which is something you can't really optimize or optimally build for.
Yeah, well, I do go Bloodthirster, and I don't
attack damage.
Yeah, I
don't give attack speed anymore.
Yeah, it gives attack damage though, which 20 attack damage isn't that big of a deal, but still having even a little bit of more attack damage is pretty useful for my poking damage. So ends up working for the best.
Yeah.
But again,
I think they do Baron, Dragon. I mean.
Yeah. Well, Ezreal alone does just Dragon. This is like the first Dragon of the game, which is a little odd, but
32 minutes in the game.
Yeah, and as you guys can see, we're not ahead by any stretch of the imagination, so it's not, I mean, we don't, this game, I mean, we're not doing horribly, but we could have lost this game really at any time.
Yeah, we were still in the running, but if they had gotten a really good team fight off, they could have easily just pushed.
However,
in our towers.
The thing about Nocturne and Shen is that they were focused on going into the middle right away. They weren't really focused on just peeling for Ezreal, which is probably what they should have done since Ezreal was so far ahead.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would have done in that situation anyway.
They just dove in and Ezreal died to Cat and you and Riven.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Riven ends up going in pretty early. I end up killing the Ezreal because I'm high enough level, and my jump does quite a hefty amount of damage. I jump out so I don't get sandwiched between Taric and Nocturne, because that would have ended disastrously. However, I end up killing Nocturne, and I get the double kill there. And this is where we start pulling ahead. That was their first of the second bad team fights. But
the big thing was that your jump canceled Shen's ultimate. It was a 4v5 because your jump did so much damage it killed Ezreal before Shen's ult went off. So that's why we pretty easily won that team fight, because they were one of their biggest characters not at the fight. It walked all the way down.
Honestly, I wasn't really anticipating that my jump would do that much damage. I probably would have just ended up finishing him off with Q anyway, though. So
yeah.
It ended up working for the best as a result. One of the things I want to mention about Kha'Zix is that he's a very late game oriented assassin. I didn't mention this earlier on. He's kind of a contender out of all the assassins right now of just always having that damage because of what he builds. As you can see right now, I got my Last Whisper and my Black Cleaver, and this is why I say that, because on squishy opponents, there's just nothing they can do about Kha'Zix if they don't have any sort of coverage behind them. And I do my best to make sure that they don't team up on me. One of the biggest mistakes Kha'Zixes can make is jump into the middle without anticipating the counterattack. And what I always understood was that Shen probably would have taunted me if I had just jumped in mindlessly. So, and right here, even though Nocturne has a lot of health, he doesn't have any armor, and that's what I mean, he has 184 armor now that Taric is next to him, but honestly, I can just, if I'm getting to a straight-on engagement with him, like 1v1, I could probably win. And that's really a what's it called? Kha'Zix can just kind of fight people early on, and I mean later on, and it's like not many people can go toe to toe with him. unless you're like an extremely far ahead AD carry.
I also don't understand why Nocturne built 2 of the jungle items, seeing as the passives don't stack.
Yeah.
Well, the tenacity and the incinerate stack, but the butcher doesn't stack.
Yeah, I think it was more for the passive, for the non damage passive effects. He could get both basic attacks doing more damage and everything,
And tenacity.
And tenacity. So I think that was more why, and there was also a lot of free armor. I knew they were in there, so I went ahead and poked
they're
them
actually
in
the passive on those is actually really expensive because the combined costs are pretty spendy.
Mhm.
They don't give you much extra stats, so you'd be better off instead of getting a spirit of the ancient golem if he had gotten like a sunfire cape or something.
And now that I see the engagement is happening, I'm waiting until Nocturne comes in so I can help protect my Kog'Maw. He does end up dying anyway, but our damage is so insane that really they all just end up dying like one by one. I end up getting that kill, and then my jump kills Shen. So we get the ace, and since Kog'Maw made the actually pretty risky but effective play of killing the tower next to the inhibitor, this makes it so we can kill the inhibitor and then just push to win. They end up surrendering pretty soon, but yeah, as I was saying, how I feel about Kha'Zix now, he's a very bursty late game assassin, and his late game poke is among one of the best in the game, especially from what I was talking about. I mean, from what Scar was talking about, he was saying that his poke is one of the best because of how big it is and how much of a prominent slow and passive it is.
Yeah, it's much like a Twisted Fate wild card,
yeah,
but with a lot more damage. Well, not a lot more damage, but a lot. It's a shorter range, but they're larger, and they slow, which is very important.
Yeah, it ends up softening up an entire team for the inevitable team fight that occurs later on. So anyway, thanks for watching this. Scone Thief was actually pretty good in what he was talking about with Nunu and bottom lane and everything. And hopefully we can do more duo commentaries like this. I don't know if Scone enjoyed this at all.
We won.
Yeah, we did win, and that was the important part, right? I wouldn't upload
It's always
things.
important to win.
It's always important to win, exactly. So go ahead and favorite, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.